Look who I got back again.
Yo!
Dan from Iron City Paranormal.
What's going on?
Hello, everybody.
Oh,
Not gonna lie, second time I watched that intro, it was creepy just the same. Well done, my friend.
yeah, I might have a future in filmmaking maybe one day.
I like it. I really like that.
I actually made that while high on cough syrup and lack of sleep last night, so I think I did okay.
I think you should work like that all the time.
Yeah, if that's what it takes.
Makes me wonder, I don't know if I should say it or not, but I am anyway. Makes me wonder just how creative meth heads can be, because most of the time they make meth out of Sudafed and gasoline. Because I was extremely high on NyQuil and sleep deprived.
Hey, there's
So if
only
y'all
one
can't
more
tell,
time out.
John's got a little case of the head cold. I'm hoping it's not rolling around too, because I don't need that in my life. But I think I should be able to power through this. Good to see you guys again. It's been a while since we last sat down. Been about 3 months.
It has been way too long.
So have you.
Yeah, I've been busy. A lot of changes here at the old Fiend lair. Got a new co-host now. Maybe y'all get to meet him one day. His name is Brandon Hayes. He's from Ireland, so the only time I ever get to record with him is on like what would be Tuesday night for me, but Wednesday morning for him. And me and him have got a really good rapport. We mainly just pick a topic like next time we talk when he gets done, because he's a actor, independent films. And we're going to do Hammer Horror, but we've done Child's Play, Universal, and we've done some werewolf films and vampire films. Had a good time with Brandon. Really awesome dude. He plays villains mostly in movies. So it's always funny. It's like the nicest guys are always the ones that end up playing the biggest assholes in most movies for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, Brandon's good peep. So Brandon, you watch this, which I know you will because you always do. What's up? He's heading out to California to do the Third Channel, which is an unofficial sequel to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. And he's going to play the main baddie in it. And my voice went there for a second. But we'll make it.
We hope.
I have coffee and seltzer water, so I'm good.
What more could you want in your life?
Beer would be good, but it's also 8:20 in the morning.
I was going to say not at 8:20 in the morning.
No, because then you're an alcoholic and you got to go to meetings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can get those nice chips that you get every year, though.
Got that poker chip. How many beers can I get for that?
Is that how that works?
I think so.
I have been in bars and seen guys with them.
Yeah. Wow.
Let you know they're a regular. Where everybody knows your name. Where your wife left you and you're lame.
Oh, we can laugh because it's not our problem, but
no,
that
it's
was
somebody else's.
That was fucking it was.
So, what y'all been working on? Because Lord knows you all been balls to the wall.
I mean, that's just, we don't know any other way. But, I mean, you know, on top of our investigations and everything, we've got some new stuff up on our YouTube, some short stories and things we've worked on. So, fillers more than anything. But, man, we got some good stuff recently. Gettysburg, over in back to Windber, Pennsylvania, where we actually encountered our first poltergeist. So that was pretty intense. But it's we've kind of been all over the place recently and lining up a bunch of events and things too. I think one of the more fun things we've done recently is kind of a circling back to our where we began, where we helped host a bachelorette party. So that was interesting, to say the least.
I just can't see it.
I knew
Dan,
you'd smile as soon as I said that.
It was a lot of fun. We had an absolute blast with that. But yeah, we've been pretty busy actually the last few months. We were supposed to take a break at the beginning of the year.
That didn't happen.
Didn't happen. We kind of powered through that, and we kind of take. What's that?
The stork went and dropped the new kid off at your place.
Yeah, so my daughter was born on New Year's Day, and she's healthy, and Mama's healthy, and everything. So once we made sure everything was okay, we kind of hit the road again, and we've been pretty busy.
Yeah, it's been like nonstop since then. So
yeah, and we don't like to do stuff in the winter because these places we go aren't heated, and they are freezing, and we're sleepy and cold.
We learned that the hard way, actually.
Yeah.
When a place tells you that it's heated and they have one little portable heater, doesn't cut it.
Yeah, and it's by the toilet, which is like the only place you need a heater, right? So like when you take a leak, you can be warm, but then the rest of the night you're cold as hell.
Was it one of those propane like jet heaters you see on most work sites? You turn it on and it just blows 200-degree air into your face along with carbon monoxide.
I kind of wish it was.
To be honest with you,
The rest of the house that you're working in is like you could hang meat in.
I wish it was one of those heaters. That would actually be better than the little tiny things they put on 110 volt or 115 volt outlet, and they're barely able to keep the back of your legs warm while you got your pants pulled down.
It's like being a homeless guy trying to warm yourself with a tea candle.
Honest to God.
It's like it's 40 below, but it's really keeping me nice and toasty.
Especially when you have the surface area that I do. It's you need a bigger heater.
How are you cooking your food? Well, I get a spoonful of this Hormel chili. I just put it over the tea candle for a minute. Warms it right up. Took 3 layers of skin. Took 3 layers of skin off my tongue, but that's the price to pay for freedom.
Well, yeah, and then you have other cold nights where you're not expecting to go outside, and somebody has to borrow Dan's jacket because I didn't bring one.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
You didn't let him learn his lesson and just freeze? Hypothermia is always a good tool when it comes to.
I don't think he wanted to tell my wife or my daughter that I froze to death trying to find them ghosts.
Yeah, looking like Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Right.
Yeah, no joke. Now we have a really hard time finding people that want to do this with us. So if I lose Derrick, I'm screwed. And he does all the work. I just show up for the investigations. He does all the hard stuff with the evidence reviews and everything else. So if he dies, I'm done. But I'll hunt you.
Talent alone, right?
I'll hunt you. I just won't go through it ever. I'll just try to
do an EVP sessions going, Derrick, I got all these files I need to know as on voices on it. I know you're in the spirit realm, but if you can understand,
knock twice when you hear something.
Just make something shake.
No, it's more along the lines of I'll make sure my computer's on, you do the rest.
Hey, that's it. That's it.
Be like a Christmas Carol, Ebenezer Dan, and Jacob Derrick shows up. It's got EVP recorders and cameras hanging from chains from him. These are the chains I forged in life. Guys will have to excuse me. I'm really high on cough syrup. Don't do drugs, kids.
You'll fit right in here. We don't even need the cough syrup after a while.
So what do y'all want to look at first? Because I'm looking at a shit ton of stuff that you've all sent me.
Yeah, I typically go overboard. I like to share everything.
I say let's start at Gettysburg. So
we're not allowed to say where it is, though.
Right. So we did a bed and breakfast in Gettysburg. They don't want the location to be known for being haunted.
That's Emma's house where she got shot.
Yeah, we did that 2 years ago at the Jenny Wade house. but this one is an undisclosed bed and breakfast.
Oh, I thought it was the Jenny Wade house. My bad.
No, it's not. But
This one's actually outside of Gettysburg. It's on the PA Maryland border. So
mhm.
you know, if you read a little bit about where we went and you've been there or you know it, it doesn't take much to put two and two together. But
Right. Yeah, but this one was interesting in the fact that we had, obviously it had a history to it, you know, with spirits at the location, but then it also had an interesting twist where it brought in the other thing that Derrick and I are finding to be more valuable to us, was a personal connection of the family to the location of somebody that had passed recently. You know, it was a couple months before we were there, somebody in the family had passed, and
it was actually so close to when we were going out that she was like that close to canceling on us, just because it was a lot. It was a lot for family to take in.
sure. And you know, we got to validate some of the things that she had been experiencing, and got confirmation from her family member that it was them that was doing these things that she thought they were. But you know, this one was a very interesting investigation for us.
How random is that people would cancel on you with stuff like that? Like it becomes too heavy for them because they don't want to actually face what they know is there, but they don't want the confirmation. So they chicken out a little bit because they like to convince themselves that it's just, you know, it's all in their head.
I don't think this was that particular case. I don't think they didn't really think we were going to find a tie to that relative that had passed. I don't think that was really ever in her mind. I just think that I mean, I know that this place has kind of passed through the family and everything too, so it was more of just, we want people to visit and stay here not for the paranormal. We want you to come for the peace, the quiet, the beauty of the place. So I don't think in this particular situation that was really of any concern, at least not that I could tell. I don't know about you, Dan, but
no, I agree with that.
No, I mean, it has happened before.
And in this case, they wanted us to, because the individual that passed had a very, very strong connection with this location as well. So I think that in this instance, they wanted us to, not initially when we set it up, you know, the individual hadn't passed at the time, but I think that's why she kind of kept us on the book, so to speak, and had us come in and was able to push that, you know, just the overwhelming amount of stuff that was happening to her in her life. She was able to push that aside and actually, you know, have us come in because she wanted validation. She wanted to know that this individual is still with her. So I think that it kind of pushed her in the other direction. It wasn't that she's afraid to find out. She wanted to find out, you know, she wanted to know. But we don't run into that very often, to be honest with you, John, because, you know, a lot of the places that we go, they tout the fact that they're, you know, haunted. They want us to find everything, or they're individuals with apartments and different things that have experienced things that they want validation. You know, they want to know that they're not crazy, so to speak, by having two crazy guys come in and tell them that they're not crazy, you know, and then potentially do a cleansing or whatever.
Yeah, and I actually think that that's kind of the point that she was at, because she started having some things happen to her, some strange occurrences in the place. She would call her friends, relatives, come by, like, you know, nothing's going on here. Are you losing your mind, kind of thing? Mm-hmm. And I think she just wanted somebody else to come in and say, you know, look, we've experienced something before in this area, or, you know, very similar to my experience. And I think that was actually why she had wanted us, or agreed for us to come spend some time there. But I don't, like Dan said, I don't think it was really ever, she never really was planning on canceling on us. I just know that the death occurred very close to when we were going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I just always wondered that, because there are people out there that really, they know something's going on in their home, but part of them just doesn't want to accept it. So they're standing on that cliff's edge going, do it, make the jump and just accept it and get the evidence that I seek to validate what I already know, or do I just keep playing in my mind that it's just a figment of my imagination?
Well, like personally speaking, my grandparents have thought that my great grandma has made appearances every once in a while, but they want it to just be kind of a fairy tale. Like they're not sure that they actually want to know one way or the other. So it's just like stories that they end up telling over and over, and they don't actually want us to come and find out one way or the other.
That's like the stories I've told you guys. I think I shared this apartment with the spirit of an old woman that used to either lived here and passed, or lived here, moved away and passed, but somehow part of her presence is here or whatever. Because yeah, I did a EVP session one night here in the house, and for about hour and a half, I sat here and carried on a conversation with what I thought was probably an elderly lady who was nice. Everything I got was not threatening. It was all.
It's absolutely insane when something like that happens, though, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you weren't expecting that to happen, to be sitting there that long and just talking to nobody. Or
Yeah, it was, it wasn't anything mischievous or anything that I would feel was like demonic or anything of that nature. Because I was very, cordial and nice, and the same was given back to me. It was just, there was some things like, yeah, I'm dead, and
What else do you want me to say?
like, yeah, well, I'm sure you are, because I can't see you, so obviously you're something.
Mm-hmm. And I think that what part of what we do, and this is where I always we Derek and I are both very careful when we do the stuff that we do, in the fact that when you start talking or trying to speak to things that aren't, that are on the other side, you're kind of opening the potential floodgate for anything to come through, which is why Derek and I don't use Ouija boards. We don't do the mirrors on investigations, and a lot of places don't allow those either, because it's like the Audubon of paranormal super highways when you get into that kind of shit. And like these locations and these these locations and individuals just don't want to bring that outside potential for negative things to get in. Just like my mother's house is the same way that Derek's grandparents are. They don't want us to come investigate there, not because they're afraid of us validating it, because they believe in their heart that that it is something that they're experiencing, but they're just afraid of us welcoming other things into the house by doing it. So that's a real fear when we're doing this kind of stuff.
That was one of the things that I got from a friend not outside of you two guys that I told this to. Is I had a friend here on the island that does paranormal investigation, and he said the same thing. He's like, be careful, because he's like, sometimes demonic spirits can come off as friendly at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you think they're friendly and all that, and then you become more open to them, that's when the real bullshit starts. So I was like, okay, I get it. But that was a year ago, and I've not walked into the house and my cat was floating across the room, or things were turned upside down, or anything of that nature. So I'm like, obviously it's cool. So whatever it was chill. And
Yeah.
I've just accepted the fact, and people might and you guys that watch this video later, or joining us now, might think John's crazy, but I have always felt somehow I have a connection to that kind of shit. Because for some reason, ever since I was younger, I've always found myself coming across stuff that I can't friggin' explain, but nobody else around me seems to notice, but I do. I'm not trying to say I'm some medium or something. I don't think I am at all, but I think I might be sensitive to the shit.
Well, and that's one of the things that a lot of researchers have come across and discovered that, when we're younger, our minds are a lot more open to things like that. We're not, we're still naive to the world in general. And as we grow and, we're told that's not real, that doesn't really happen, then we stop paying attention to some of those little details, and you end up missing out on some of those things. So it's said that we're all born with a certain level of sensitivity. And very similar to what you're saying, you experience things, see things that other people around you don't. And that's just, you're at least more open to it now as an adult than most other people are or want to be sometimes.
Well, I believe in it strongly, and maybe that's what plays into it, because I know there's this big question about what's after we pass. And we've covered this before in our other 3 episodes prior to, but just kind of rehash it on it. It's the great mystery that everybody's always wanted the answer to. What is after this?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody concretely knows, but I can say without a shadow of a doubt, it's something else. It's not just lights out, that's it, you're done, because there's just too much out there supporting the fact that either we stay here on this earth as some kind of energy, or there's some limbo or whatever, or we just get stuck in kind of like a time loop, kind of like what do you call it, a spirit that constantly does the same thing over and over again.
Kind of like residual energy.
Yes,
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's just too much out there to support it.
Mm-hmm.
And over the past 40 years, well, hell, probably 50 years since that paranormal investigation has really ramped up and technology has gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just look at it as some kind of pseudoscience anymore. It's too much that can be concretely proven now.
Well, there's a lot that plays into it too with science to support it. I mean, you talk about energies, and that's something that I subscribe to more than most things. Is energy can't be destroyed, and that's been scientifically proven. So yeah, what happens after that? And that's to your point with all the energies. Where do you go? What happens to you?
Yeah, because we run off of electricity just like most of our appliances. Our body is a natural electrical generator. Our brain fires off of electrical impulses. So,
That's exactly right.
But anyway, back to
so it was a little like we all had like a
we were thinking hard there. You can see the smoke coming out of our ears.
But so Gettysburg was actually another unique opportunity for us, because no one had been there, paranormally speaking. Not to investigate like that. Some people have had experiences, but we were also able to reach out to our community that we always talk about, getting new people in, people that don't know where to start, people that don't have the tools. And we actually met a father-daughter duo there that came out in Cliff and Emma. And one of the pictures was actually taken by Emma, just happenstance, taking pictures of the place. But that one on the top right there, she was just taking pictures, and we spent some time trying to figure out what could possibly be in there. But that was that area that she had pinpointed some things in. There was nothing there. Like that was a kitchen dining room area, and it was just like there's nothing in here.
Yeah, so John, I see you looking at it like, what the hell am I looking at? Top center, the top center pane. There's a.
It's almost like something's trying to form there.
Yeah.
It's like one of those pictures that you would see in the mall. It's like, oh, you can see the sailboat and all these little pictures put together. Just look at it long enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what we talked about before we started this whole thing. You can convince people there's things in pictures that there isn't. That's why we always like to let people look at them before we point them in a direction. But when I see people's faces turning and spinning like that, I was like, yeah, look here.
A lot of the time I don't even like to circle. Like I've been circling things and pointing at least
It
areas
helps.
out,
It helps.
just to draw your eye to where it is.
Mhm.
But the best things that we've come across are things you don't have to point out, and then like Dan said, your eyes just pop and it's like, oh my God, I see it there,
So I want all you viewers, whether you're watching now or later, and if you're go back and watch later, pause the video, but I want you to focus right in here. And then I want you to follow right from here and right in here.
Mhm.
And you're going to see what looks like the manifestation of a head, arms, and a torso area.
Mhm.
And that wasn't even one of the areas that anything was said to happen in. So, to that point of you don't really know what you're getting into sometimes and what's going to come through, and we have no idea who this could have been, what this could have been. But I mean, it was an incredible catch by her.
Yeah, and this location was so it obviously was tied to Gettysburg to some extent just because of the location and the geography. It was far enough off the battlefield that there were no battles that took place here. There was one of the few buildings, around that area that were not used as field hospitals and all those kind of things. So the ties to Gettysburg were more directly related to just the fact that it was geographically close by. But there was no tie to the battle, no like blood and guts and that kind of stuff all over the place from the war. But what it did have was, a troubled past, completely independent of the war, but more tied to the history of the country and with slavery and those kind of things. This location obviously being a farmhouse, initially had a history of slaves. The people that owned the slaves didn't necessarily treat them terrible, but they also didn't treat them great either. All in the same vein, they had actually there was it was they have documentation or whatever picture. I really don't know what they have, but there were pens that were located in the basement of this location. They're no longer there, but there were cages essentially that were built at the
in the basement itself. You can see where they were taken down. Actually,
you could see remnants, like look, you could see hints of them, but they were pens where they would keep the slaves locked in at night. So it was you have that historical tie to the slavery and everything else, but the kind of the thing that really spiked our interest when we were there was on the back side of this location. There's a period of time where this house was used as a foster home, and the people that ran the foster home didn't do a great job of taking care of their foster children, so to speak. In the fact that they hired like a head lady, like a head mistress, to watch over their foster children. And there was documented in history that the head mistress actually physically nailed the ear of a kid to the floor of the shed out back as a punishment for who knows what, probably not eating his vegetables or who knows,
Is that the infamous orphanage in
No.
Gettysburg?
No, it is not.
So there was more than one there where these kids got treated like complete garbage.
Yeah, and Derrick and I were doing a lot of speculation after the fact, just like the timing of the whole thing, like with the story and the fact that, like you're talking about, John, like with the Gettysburg orphanage that's right across the street from the Jenny Wade house in downtown Gettysburg. We were actually speculating that this story of this location actually fits with very shortly after the time frame of when the woman that was chased out of the orphanage, the one that made Derrick dry heave violently when we were in the pit there a few years ago, doing an investigation. This location, the stuff that happened here with the mistreatment of children, was shortly after she was chased out of that orphanage. So we were speculating to each other, what if, what was her name? Like Carmichael?
Rosa Carmichael.
Rosa Carmichael. We're like, what is there potential this was a location that woman stopped at after she left the orphanage? We have nothing to substantiate this, but it was just.
However, it would make an awesome story.
It would, like we should write a book like that. But so this location, so she nailed the ear of a child to the floor as punishment.
And believe that the child had previously ran away. So
can you blame him?
Right. But that's a good way to keep somebody there if you physically nail them to the place. But eventually he was left out in the elements. The child was. So it is a known fact that this child that was nailed to the floor did pass away from exposure.
They actually have a newspaper article on it at the bed and breakfast itself.
Correct. So that is a known historical truth, which was obviously the telephone game. Derrick and I heard a very different story about kind of what went down after that to actually what happened. We were told that the headmistress that did this, to the child had actually been hanged in the gazebo out back. We came to find out through the owner and through hearing stories from her with facts to back it up. That never happened.
She actually fled, and a group of townspeople did come in and try to do so. They tried to kill her, hang her, but they were never able to find her. So that's where our theory of maybe she found another location after this. But we did spend some time there, and I did on the drive. There's both a picture and a recording. When we were in there, it was actually Dan who was running the investigation. He was in the gazebo with a bunch of the women that were sensitives. Cindy, who is one of them. And I was kind of on the outside taking pictures, running some of our other equipment. But what we heard was just absolutely unbelievable.
Let's just play it. Did you put it in the file, Derrick?
Yeah, it's in there. If you go back to that main screen.
The breathing?
No, the other one. The hammering one.
Hammering noise.
I'm not gonna lie, I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Hold on, give me just a second. Let me try. Sorry about that, guys. Give me just a second. Maybe I didn't check off on
the audio share.
Yep. There we go. Now let's see if we can hear it. John forgot to push a button.
Trust me, I know that feeling.
So
I feel like someone's kneeling on my shoulders.
Oh,
can you all hear it?
does that signify
Yeah.
anything? No,
Yep, we're good.
just a feeling.
It's just a feeling like someone's kneeling on me. Pressure on my shoulders. Pressure on
Back of my neck
Like
is
by my
starting
head.
hurting.
You've
That's what
had
I
that the whole time.
Yeah. Well,
So that-
I was in here.
That is none of us. We're just
Let it play. Let it keep going.
Like,
So we were asking why terrible things happen in the gazebo that used
like
to stand here. The name of the individual that performed these heinous acts has been stricken, taken out of history.
Dude, that's fucking wild, bro.
We didn't even hear it at the time.
Yeah, no,
Play it
you
back.
can tell we're not reacting to it at all. Like if we would have heard that, we would have been all over it, But when we listened back to this in real time, that actually spurred us to use a trigger object. We actually found a hammer in the yard, and we were actually was this prior to that, Derek? I don't remember if we had brought it in by that point or not.
No, so we listened back to this, and then I'm like, I saw a hammer over there. This is a perfect opportunity. And also at the time, we didn't tell anybody else
Correct.
the specifics. So nobody else would have even known to listen or look for the hammer or anything. You know, it was really just the two of us that knew about it. And the other oddity, when you listen back to this, the hammering sounds, did you notice how they come?
Threes?
In threes.
Uh-huh.
They come in threes.
Yeah, I'm going to play it one more time, just in case anybody that's with us missed it. So this is some hammering noises, guys. Just listen real close. At the time, Derrick and Dan did not pick up on this, and you'll notice they just keep asking questions.
No, don't be sorry. That's what we want you to do.
I
So,
feel like someone's kneeling on my shoulders.
oh, does that signify anything? No, just a feeling.
It's just a feeling like someone's kneeling on me. Pressure on my shoulders. Pressure on
Back of my neck
my
is started hurting.
You've
That's what I
had
was-
that the whole time.
Yeah. Well, the minute I was in here, it was dizzy, lightheaded, disorientated, and when I sat down, it was like right down my spine, like.
So we were asking why terrible things happened in the gazebo that used to stand here. The name of the individual that performed these heinous acts has been stricken, taken out of history.
Whoever or whatever is trying to get your attention.
Yeah, and that's what I noticed in that was the fact that it happened very early on. You know, it wasn't just one spot in that recording. It's throughout the whole darn thing.
Yeah, I think I found this occurring at another location as well. I did put that up on the recording, but as that was happening, if you look at that picture right there,
This one?
yeah, just pull that picture up. I was just taking random pictures. I mean, there was nobody over there. that to me, I didn't even see it until I was reviewing everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that was an area that there was a group of what, Dan? Was it 3 of us, I think, that went over that way? At one point?
Eventually, yes.
Well, here.
Well, in this picture, so the light source is coming from back behind the gazebo.
Yeah, and the light source is coming in from this way.
Right,
Correct.
exactly. And we are all. This was fairly early after we had gotten to the, out to the back. You can see these people were over by the gazebo. We hadn't even gone over that way yet. We were just starting to get set up when he captured this picture. So there was, if in order for somebody to cast a shadow like that, they would have to, like you said, John, the light source is coming from top right down, so you'd have to be on the other side of the gazebo over somewhere over there, and there's nobody in that area.
That's a big bloke.
Yeah. Yeah, which now I'm looking at it makes me, more concerned with what we were dealing with there, because to be honest with you, that's like the one thing that does scare me when we do these things is what do we do if we do get attacked? What do we do if we do come to something that really doesn't like us being there? Yeah, we've had things thrown at us. We've had things, growl at us, but those have been fairly mundane. Like, I don't want to get into something where if something physically starts to interact with us that we're not able to protect ourselves. And seeing something large like that, you automatically think, am I safe? It's like
you never truly know what or who you're dealing with. We can speculate, and all of these things, they can guide us a certain direction, and we can put together a nice, pretty story to it, but you don't truly know what you're dealing with here. In any case, I mean, exactly, John, like you were saying. That these,
so I can see this better.
your friend that had told you, if something is friendly and is trying to get close to you, it could be demonic. You just don't know.
Well, what gets me is when you look at the head here, the shape of it just isn't a regular head. That because it's almost like, to me, when I look at it, it's like, do they have on like winter clothes, and this is like a toboggan or something, whatever you call it, a toque or whatever, wherever you're from in the world. But it has the little puff ball on top,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I kind of get that vibe from that.
Or like
That
a
or
hood,
freaking demon horn or some shit. I don't know.
or like the peak of a hood or something. I mean that.
Yeah.
Then that's the more terrifying thing. That I'd rather it be one of those snow hats with the little poof on top rather than a black figure with a hood on.
That's a big mofo.
Yeah.
And I mean those garage doors were probably what, like anywhere between 8 and 10 foot tall.
Yeah, they were pretty large, and I think the note in these kind of things is Derrick always takes pictures in quick succession. So he's comparing these against not only what we think we see, but he's comparing these against pictures where he takes it a second or two before this, and there's nothing in those pictures. So to catch something like this, if there was somebody over there, this would be a repeating phenomenon, or so to speak, or would see this shadow, or would see the people that were over there in other pictures. But none of that was the case.
Just that angle, the way it comes here, they're here. Clearly, yeah, there's a light source there, but for it to cast that shadow, you would need a light source all the way out, even on this tree, to project it here. And even still, this tree would obscure the shadow, possibly.
Correct. Yeah, if that's exactly right. And you can see where you can't see my mouse, but where the branches of the tree branch off from the main trunk, you can see that straight line shadow. That's the top of the gazebo. So you could see that light that is illuminating that whole back area is coming from back on the other side of that gazebo.
And the light, you can clearly tell the angle it's coming from, because there's another tree that is picking up, or like you said, the gazebo roof, or whatever.
Yeah.
Just right there. It's clearly on a slant, but it's coming towards you and not away from you.
Yeah,
I think I'd want to run into him for coming from my lunch money.
No, and to get to what Derrick was saying earlier about what else was happening in this area, we were doing the investigation purely inside of that gazebo, and we had 3 women with us. 2 were experienced. One was a medium, which was Cindy, who's been on your show. The second was a friend of hers that is a sensitive, that is also very good, Janine. They have a lot of experience doing this kind of stuff. But we also had Emma with us, who we were really thankful that we had her there, and we were, it was a pleasure to have her and her father Cliff with us, because she's getting started into this kind of stuff. She wants to hone her skills. She wants to be better at being a medium or a sensitive or whatever power she does have. So we were able to bring her into our group of experienced mediums and sensitives, and provide her an outlet and someone to talk to about what her ability is and how you protect yourself from these things. So while this whole thing was, we were doing the investigation, we started to hear it sounded like a baby or a small child screaming and crying in the like across the tree line back behind this garage.
And to preface that, there's nothing around.
Yeah, you're in the middle of a farm, so there's nothing around, and there's like a steep hill on the other side of this garage that goes down to a stream, and then that empties into a larger creek. And we heard these. It sounded like a banshee scream almost, or like just a child that was inconsolably screaming back in that tree line. And Derrick and Emma's father Cliff went down over the hill just to see what they could see back there, trying to make find out where the source of this was coming from. And as they did that, the mediums and the sensitives that were there, they all started freaking out, like, you need to get them back up here now. It's not safe. It's not safe. Like there was something around there that they were not comfortable with them going after, which again makes this shadow figure even scarier. So we eventually had to scream and have them come back over and come back up the hill. They never did find out what it was that was screaming, but everybody, and we all heard it, and it was some scary shit. I don't know if we picked it up on audio, Derek, but it was
No, we never did.
It was very loud.
You could hear us all react to it. We all heard it at the same time.
Yeah.
You could hear us react to it, and then you could even hear, like Dan saying, the mediums, like, all calling us back. But you never once heard that actual sound that we heard in real life.
And then Emma just had a breakdown. Like, she just started sobbing and shaking, and we had to stop the session and get her out of there so that she could decompress and just spiritually remove herself from whatever it was, because it started getting to the point where it was aggressive towards the people that could speak to them.
There's one thing I want everybody to really kind of pay attention to. I was just sitting here staring at it, and it just popped in my head. So when you cast a shadow, regardless of where the light source is coming from, your legs
when you started
are going to be followed. It's going to be a dark spot, which is going to be your legs, and then the rest of your shadow is going to go up here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as you notice, there ain't no fucking legs.
That's so true. Wow, how do we not catch that before? That is so true.
I actually like Paul's comment about the hat, because that actually ties into a lot of things we've been picking up recently.
Oh yeah, that does. And that's a really good point to bring up, Paul. We have had a couple interactions with the Hat Man demon, starting back at the tattoo shop nearby our house, and maybe that's something to do. That's awesome, but I am also terrified by that comparison, because it's absolutely the truth.
Yeah, because if you really look at that thing, and now that I see his comment, I could definitely see that being some kind of hat there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like it has a brim to it almost.
Mm-hmm.
There's like some smaller lines poking out in the shadow. That's crazy.
Nope, hell no.
Wow. Yeah, that makes you rethink things, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was just sitting here staring at it. I was like, where's the legs? I mean, because I was thinking, okay, when I was a kid, I used to stand in front, because I used to go deer hunting with my grandfather a lot. And if I stood in front of a spotlight, when we'd be at the end of the day trying to find dogs, you would clearly see my legs on the ground, and then my shadow forming up on a tree or the side of a building or whatever. And I didn't notice that here. I was like,
That actually happens to us a lot when we're using some of our tools, and we have to quickly debunk it so we can move out of our own way.
It's almost like it's just coming out from underneath the garage door.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't like that. I love it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I think the there was another clip of the hammering, but I don't know, Dan, if you want to talk about the basement a little bit. I did capture a little bit of the breathing I shared with John. But
yeah,
the basement
did you put the shadows on here that were going into the doorway?
You would have to go to the videos for that, because there are links to our YouTube, which, yes, I think those are absolutely incredible.
Yeah, so there was in the basement of this location, there was a large wooden door that was original to the house.
Let's see if I can pull your all's YouTube up.
If you go to John, I sent you a list in that as well under the new stuff category. Open that list, and there's actually a direct link to it.
Yeah, links direct. Oh, that's right. Yeah, links directly to the YouTube video. But this room, it had a blue cross spray painted, or not spray painted, but painted on the front of the door with a circle around it. And it just had a very weird feeling about that room. And we found out that the location was used as a filming location for Ghosts of Gettysburg, which is what they're saying, that where that came from with the cross and the circle, which we did watch the episode, and they do show them painting a cross in a circle within a circle on the room,
but it doesn't match up.
doesn't match up exactly. And so like it's very odd, it doesn't match up the way that it is exactly in the video. But we had a camera focused on that doorway most of the night, and we captured an amorphous shadow that was moving into that room, and it was very odd. Do you want to direct him, Derek?
Is it this one here?
Yeah, so open up the actual list. It's like an Excel, whatever, sheets thing. And if you can't get to it, I can always share mine.
I don't know why it's not sharing on this end.
Are you sharing that thing? Because if it's opening another window or something, it won't share it if you're just sharing that one box.
Yeah, let me try that again. Technology. Is it this one?
No, that one's not it. That one's the hallway.
That is one of them. That's the door opening, I believe.
Well, yeah, but that's not the one I'm talking about. That's not the one in the basement.
So in our chat, I just sent you the link to it if you want to pull that up.
Derek on the spot.
All right, now back to share. Share screen. There we go.
Yeah, that's it.
So make sure the volume's up, and here we go.
That was, I mean,
yeah, it's real quick.
You want to play it back a few times because I saw it, but that's
yeah, I did too.
I know exactly what I'm looking at though. So
it's on it's right around that fire. See, it comes from the bottom. It goes up that door, the door jamb on the right hand side, and then it actually disappears into the crack on the door.
Yeah, it's real quick. It's almost like a black mist shadow.
Right. Yeah.
Yep, right there. Very faint.
Yeah, and this was running while we were sleeping, I believe, Derek, right?
So there's actually two of them. This one was as we were setting things up. So we were actually upstairs at this point is when this happened. I sent you another link to another video that is actually the one, and it should be in like black and white where we were sleeping.
Oh, okay. That's the one I like because it actually, the shadow goes into the door and it actually pops its head back out. Or like peeks back out.
There's no need to play your intro for us that we stole from you, but
well, I gave it to you. What are you talking about? Stole? All right, why are you not sharing what I want to share, you turd? Come on. There you go. Is this the...
We're still seeing the original one, Joe. There you go.
Okay. This would be Trail 2 Basement?
Yes.
Stop. StreamYard, you need to simplify this, please. Yep.
In 1901, philanthropist Andrew Carnegie had put partial funds into a library located
This ain't
in
it, is
Honolulu,
it?
PA.
No, that's a shorts. That's from our YouTube channel.
What in the world is going on? Let me try it again. God.
I got it up for you if you want me to share mine.
I was just gonna say I could do that too.
Is this it right here? Which you all probably can't see because I'm not sharing it yet. I might have to have you all share it on your end because it is being a douche on mine. Is that it?
That's it. Yay,
Okay.
we got it.
It's very quick.
It's at the, if you look, it's the bottom left.
Just a split second.
It keeps coming and going. So it happens like right at the beginning, and then it goes away, and then it happens again. Watch that left side.
Yeah, it's like a bar almost that comes up the left side.
It's got that almost like that saloon door swing, fast at first and then it just slows down little by little. What is that? That's freaking groovy, but kind of scary too.
How late did we stay? Did we just like stay up the next night just watching back all these cameras, and we were like, "What is that?"
Right there.
Yeah. So the question, what the hell that is, we have no idea, but these trail cams are nice. They trigger with movement, right? So they only, you don't have to watch hours and hours of video, which I never do, but just
well, you got a taste for it the past few ones that we were doing, so
yeah, I liked it.
Would the next one be the door?
Yeah.
Closing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one was completely random because we weren't really getting anything on the second floor.
Right.
But we let the trail come up all night, and you can see on that one that there's a door opening and closing, whatever. Like nobody.
I think you can hear the one guy snoring on that video.
I think you can actually.
Yeah.
Oh, that closed with some force too.
Yeah.
And then you hear it almost unlatch.
I'll be honest, I don't even know if I sent you the right one, but that one you can clearly hear it in. There was another one where you could see the door close. Yeah.
Yeah, that was not a happy close either.
No, that was a slam.
How did that not wake homeboy up? Or any of you for that matter?
Yeah, Derrick and I were sleeping downstairs, and I don't know if we would have reacted to that because we would have thought maybe it was somebody that was sleeping upstairs, closing the door or something,
Very true.
It's even after the fact, you can still hear it playing with the doorknob or something almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's shaking it or it's unlatching it back and forth. But yeah, that initial close is like, I am not happy that these guys are in my house.
Yeah, so besides the slavery and all those other things, we won't get into detail because we told the owner that we wouldn't share too much about the interactions that we had with the loved one. But just to kind of wrap up this investigation, we did contact the individual that had passed away, and were able to validate through stories that we got interactions and things that the individual told us through recordings. He validated that it was him that did certain things. And when we went to the owner and said, like, does this make sense to you? Does this mean anything to you? She was able to tell us where that came from and what story it was that individual validated. It was a really cool investigation, and the fact that we were able to separate like things from the location, and then things with the loved one that was there. So it's really an interesting investigation for us. But again, we unfortunately can't share too much information on that. So I wish we could, because we caught some really cool things. But yeah,
It's understandable. You got to have, that privacy for the owners.
yeah, absolutely. And they were nice. She was nice enough to keep her date and everything else with us, and was able to power through all the stuff she had going on in life and have us come in. So it was, would like to maintain that relationship for sure.
Yeah, and so I get it. Some people don't want that stuff put out because they don't want to wake up in the morning and have like 10 million tourists in their yard going, "Hey, this is a house where the doors open and slam."
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So what do y'all want to look at next? I got Grand Midway, Hillview, and Wexford's Antiques.
So Grand Midway, it's actually not Grand Midway, but he named it that, right?
Yeah, that's correct. American Renaissance Museum. I mean, it's a
yeah. So it's a whole bunch of stuff. So this was the church where we had our first interaction with a poltergeist. So there's some cool things in here that were a first for us as Iron City.
Yeah, see, Banging Noise 2, Noise Balcony.
Yeah, so we actually had ran at the same time 2 recorders. One was like, we were sitting up on a balcony, not thinking too much of it, but we separated our recorders, one kind of close to the balcony, one on the other side of the room from us. And we usually like to do this just so we can try to debunk things later on. We can hear for different things, which has actually worked out for us tremendously in a few different locations. So this, in one of these you can hear it really well, the other one you can hear what's happening. But this is actually, these 2 banging noises were really the start of what we believed was this poltergeist interaction.
Well, so the story, right? So the church is a location in Winber, PA, that is owned by an individual that his name is Blair, that owns the Grand Midway Hotel in Winber that we investigated last year. Very great guy. He invited us out. He has a second location in the town that it was an old church that closed down several years ago, that he purchased, and they have dolls in the church that belong to Anne Rice, which was the author, obviously.
Interview with a Vampire, Queen of the Damned.
Yeah, so she had an extensive, large, like physically large dolls. They weren't just little dolls. Some of them were life size. So he has a lot of these dolls in this church, and they're going to be opening a museum for them at the location, and try to like honor her, with these dolls. But the odd thing that was happening with these dolls is that something was breaking the hands on them. While he has them set up around the church, he would come in, and the hands would be broken and the fingers would be snapped off of them. And it was always the dolls that were located near the altar. And Derrick and I set up several different cameras and different use techniques to try to get in touch with a previous paranormal team that had done a very small investigation there. Had said that there was a former priest that was inhabiting the church still. So we were trying to make connections and make ties to him and see if we could contact him on the altar, but we weren't able to get anything out of him. So then we kind of, I didn't want to say we gave up, but we were kind of like winding down, so to speak. And we're like, we're not getting this to happen. We're not getting it, these intelligent communications that we typically get. We just get noises and different things. So we went up to the balcony on the second level where we were actually going to be sleeping that night. And we turned the spirit box on for one of the, it wasn't the first time we used it, but we hadn't used it as much as we usually do. So we turned the spirit box on up in the balcony, and that sound was able to echo throughout the church just because of the location that we were in. And we believe by doing that, after we allowed the spirit box to run for a couple of minutes we got no responses on the spirit box while this was happening. But we believe that the energy and that noise echoing through the church and everything else provided this poltergeist potentially with the ability to do the things that we had happen to us, which is then getting into what Derrick has here with the noises and things. So where do you want to start, D?
So just the top left, the banging noise number 1 at the balcony.
Yeah, so you'll hear our very genuine reaction to these things.
Yeah, I think I jumped.
Yeah, this was the first time Derrick was more afraid than I was.
And yet I still chased after it. Go figure.
Yeah.
What the hell was that? Is that you? What was that?
Yeah, so you can hear the door shaking.
And if you actually want to go right there.
What the hell was that? Is that you?
I've never heard you so excited, Derrick. What the fuck?
What was that?
I believe in the other one. I might drop that one, but
Yeah.
What the hell was that? Is that you?
Yeah, so what that was when we eventually
we spent a lot of time trying to debunk this, by the way.
we did. So Derrick went downstairs, and I stayed up on the balcony so that he could do things, and then I could see if if it sounded the same. And it was that recording doesn't do it justice. It was loud.
You can try the other one. You can try the one that's I believe the noise balcony right below that. Yeah, that one. This is where we had 2 separate.
There were 2.
What the fuck? Is somebody in there?
So I don't think that one was the shaking door, but
no, this was when something was thrown. That's my fault.
Yeah, there was something else.
I named them incorrectly.
Yeah, it was. But so Derrick went downstairs, and what we ended up finding that noise to be was there was a locked door. There were 2 doors that closed together with each other, and one is permanently locked, and the second one is the one that we can go in and out of. So when Derrick grabbed onto the handles of those doors,
That's exactly what they sounded like. It's a big fall.
Was that you throwing the shit, or is that the poltergeist throwing it?
No, that's not us throwing anything.
We were the only ones in there too.
That was a heavy object. Whatever the hell it was, it threw.
Exactly. So what we found out that it was those 2 doors that come together. Whatever it was grabbing onto those doors and shaking them. So we actually, the owner of the church was supposed to stop by at some point in the middle of the night.
Banging noise too, by the way, John, is the other one that the recorder might be closer on.
Yeah, because it was loud.
What the hell was that?
Maybe not. I think this one was just closer to the spirit box.
Yeah. So But
Oh,
either
but you
way,
had that little spike in the spirit box, like right here. Like you had something trying to interact with it.
What the hell is that? And you?
And it was right before that as well. But yeah, I mean, we, like Dan was saying, we had he was talking about coming down. So I was thinking, okay, well maybe, after I took a breath, I'm thinking maybe he was down here. He was gonna come in. We
and then
talked.
we had the
He's like,
door locked, and he was just trying to get open or something.
Yeah. But yeah, no luck there.
Yeah, he confirmed through a text message pretty much right away, because he said he didn't sleep very well that night while we were doing that. But he confirmed that it was not him there, and we kind of told him what was going on. But yeah, that was an interesting one. So then right after that, we turned the spirit box back out on after we freaked out, and kind of collected ourselves, did our investigation as far as trying to debunk it and figure out where the hell these things were coming from. We turned the spirit box back on to see if we can get any intelligent communications. And again, that's where those other recordings are, where the loud, heavy object sounds like it's falling down on the like in the church, the common church area down below.
Is that what you just sent me right here, Derrick? Some videos?
So no, those videos are actually of the altar where we believe we captured a shadow moving. But so those last two videos in our chat are both of the altar.
Yeah, so if you wanted, John, to go to those other recordings, those are the ones where that heavy object sounds like it falls. And we had to, if you're curious, but that's what it is, and you'll have access, so you can get on at any time. But that's what those other ones are.
Share it again. Now that I know what to do, because this thing's... Well, y'all get commercials. I don't even get... Wait, what?
Your camera.
How the hell did I get commercial? Bird?
That's good to know. If they're starting to show commercials on that shit, we better start getting some money.
There we go. And share again. Yeah, I was like, damn, we're getting commercials. Where's my cut? All right, here we are.
Before we pinpoint it, do you see anything moving here?
So watch right here. Anybody watching, look in this area. Focus your eyes right there, and I'll back it up. It goes from left to right, and it is a person. It is clearly a freaking person, like a fat preacher type.
Uh-huh.
Just pacing behind the altar, just like a preacher would.
And you can see it go all the way left to right. It goes all the way across.
Dude, look at even the movement.
Uh-huh.
It's very fluid. Oh, and then he comes back, and it looks like he's descending away from
almost
the
like
altar,
he's
going out into the congregation.
Mm-hmm.
And and John, I didn't think of it until you had mentioned it on the last video with the feet, or the lack thereof, on that shadow. But if you notice, that reflection off of the podium in the center from that IR light, if you notice, that shadow does not break that podium reflection. So it's even more interesting to me, because it just goes behind in the back and comes out the other side there.
So to help anybody that's viewing, I'm going to do this. So watch right here. He's coming. And then he just dissolves away.
Mm-hmm.
That's freaking groovy.
I like that one. We didn't even think we got much on there, and then
And it's not a person shadow because it's very faint.
Mhm.
An individual shadow would be much darker, much more solid. This is
Mhm.
even in IR light because
This is one of the rumored hauntings that does occur there as well.
well, I was just going to use the example of as an ex-soldier in the Army, I've worked with IR lights when we've been out on night missions, and you still, with an IR goggles on, you still see people cast irregular shadows.
Mm.
It's
Yeah, that's not a
weird.
regular shadow.
It's weird that it does that with the IR goggles, but what it's doing is it's pulling in any light source it can to illuminate your field of view.
I love this one, Derek. I think this was a great catch.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know what to think of it at first.
And it's
my initial,
fading. The further left to right it goes, the more it fades. If you notice when it first starts on that far left, it's a darker shadow. And as it's moving left to right, it dissipates away.
And if you watch its outline, it's almost got like an ocean wave effect to it. Like it's barely holding on to whatever its energy.
Exactly.
It's got like a radio wave kind of look. And if I could pick that up with my badass eyes and you guys with perfect vision,
Without your glasses.
yeah. Was there a preacher that may have, or a priest of some sort that may have passed away at some point in that?
Yeah, that's the church actually closed after he had passed away. He was an older Irish priest, and as he passed away, the church actually fell into disrepair and they closed it, which is how Blair ended up coming to purchase it.
Mm-hmm.
And he obviously hasn't left, and is it fair to say that he's probably your poltergeist?
It's
hard to
possible, probably not. It's not probable. The only connection to that is that he is known to be up on the altar, which is also where a lot of the activity that's been recorded is as well. But if you have this residual of this man, which we think it probably, we're leaning more towards that simply because there was no intelligent interaction. We never got any responses or anything out of him, but it was only in that area. So the residual combined with a poltergeist just doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit. They're typically two separate entities.
So I'm going to share the next one. The Alter Cam 105. Ah, crap. What did I do that for? Escape. It's not what I wanted to do. There we go.
Thought you had this down now.
Stop picking with me, Derek.
It's just what I do.
Yeah. I'm an old man. I'm an Atari generation guy. All right. So we got this one. So let's see. Dude, is that you in that right?
Nope. This is when we were sleeping, I believe.
Yeah.
The hell is that?
Good question. And
Dude,
then
I think you might have caught the shoulder of a full body apparition.
And then watch at the very end. It's at the very end of the video. It's as if something almost
it's curious of what it is that you all are gotten there.
Yeah, I no idea.
The way it moves, that's somebody's freaking shoulder.
Yeah, and it looks like it turns and walks away right at the end.
You get that where you get that line off. That's somebody's freaking shoulder, bro. You could even see the fuzz on the clothes.
But yeah, that was what this was. That we captured that while we were sleeping.
What's this contraption here you got in here, laddie? Wait, what the fuck was that? It come up.
That's what I'm saying. The very end.
There's like a hand or something. Or something or other.
If you pause it at the end, you can kind of it just flashes.
Maybe I let it go too far. I ain't you bastard.
YouTube's not the great for solving paranormal mysteries.
No, unfortunately.
But you're giving us a lot of views, so thank you. Just keep doing it.
Hey, I gotta help you all out.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
I'm gonna put this on widescreen for myself. There we go.
You just got to keep playing and pausing, playing and pausing.
That's human movement too. That's not. It's almost like you caught him trying to manifest, and then when he walks down away from the altar, he finally pulls in enough energy that he finally did manage to, whether it's full or partially. But it's solid.
But it just sucks that it was off camera.
Next time we'll turn the camera a little bit further to the right.
Let me ask this question. Did your all's battery fluctuate on this thing as it was close to it?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you don't have a battery gauge on the corner over here that's going to show.
No.
I don't think, but that would be cool if you could have noticed the battery maybe get drained down a little bit.
Well, the only oddity is whenever it flashes at the end and it almost goes back to that whatever that like reset is. That's what happens when the camera first turns on. That green bar that you see at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens when the camera first turns on. You get that.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And that's the only other time that ever happens.
Wish I could get that. Yep, bitch. Guess I'll have to pause it when it gets to it. Right there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's freaky, bro. It interfered with the camera signal.
Mm-hmm.
There was some electrical, I don't know, occurrence that happened at that point. But the timing of it was just intriguing because it goes off screen and then all of a sudden that's what pops up.
I don't know. See, I would be like Derrick, and I would just go in there and want to sit. Come over here and sit with me, Father, and have a wee little nip of Irish whiskey with my bad Irish accent.
Yeah, I want to go in and sit. I just don't want to do it by myself like Derrick wants to.
That's never safe, Derrick.
It's never
It's what I do. It's what I bring to the table, you know.
See what happened to Zach Bagans, right? His eyes are all fucked up now because he went and sat in the demon house. Well, he boarded himself up into a demon house.
And he brought all that on himself anyway.
Yeah,
So
gotta be cool. Gotta be cool for the chicks.
it's exactly what he does, man.
Yeah. Well, I'll save him for another episode.
So speaking of saving things for another episode, I would like to come back on at some point and go over the Wexford Antique Shop, because there was a lot. I know I have some of that listed there, but there's a lot to dive into on that one. So rather than going into that now, I think I would rather want to look at Hillview with that bachelorette party that we were alluding to, just because there were a lot of things that happened here that Dan and I have kind of been on a different stance ever since then, that it's like, it's awesome and nice and great to capture all these things, all these pieces of evidence, so we can share them. But how many views we get? 4, 5 on that one?
Yeah.
So I think more than anything, it's for the personal experience and knowing exactly what we're getting into and what we've seen. And that was the biggest takeaway with doing this this bachelorette party at this
Yes,
spot.
I think we talked about this location in previous episodes.
We have.
Yeah, because this is the third time we have been back to investigate this location. But Derrick and I started doing this with a group of friends for his bachelor party. We started doing paranormal investigations using other people's equipment. So prior to that, it was like just a morbid curiosity, and now it's turned into an obsession with equipment, right? So it's an expensive obsession. But we had an opportunity where a friend of Derrick's from growing up, this person lived directly behind him growing up. Her sister was getting married, and for her bachelorette party, Erin's her name. She thought it was very intriguing to maybe reach out and see if Derrick and I would run an investigation with the bachelorettes for their night away. So we jumped on the opportunity, and we were presented with the ability to, now using our equipment and our know-how that we've been honing the last 5 or 6 years of doing this, we were able to bring people in that had that same morbid curiosity that we did getting into this, and give them tools and the know-how to actually experience these paranormal interactions directly. So it was a really great night, and we had things we both captured on camera and on video, and we also caught. Derrick didn't see it because he was in a room. But
I was getting other things in that room, by the way, as that was happening.
Yeah, no doubt. And Derrick missed it, but there was everybody else, including myself. So there was I think 8 of us out in the hallway that saw a full body black shadow figure walk across this, like at the end of the hallway. There's these red exit lights that are illuminating, for security measures. That's the only lights in the place while we're investigating are these red lights. And
Is
there
it
was
this picture here?
No, but you can get an idea of that like red illumination.
Yes, absolutely. So we watched. We didn't even think it was anything until the end. We did at the time. We thought maybe it was, somebody that was waiting, that was there with us for the night, coming.
Well, they were setting up for an event the next day.
Yeah, so we thought they were just going about their business, but we watched this figure that looked like a small older lady walk from the side of the hallway over to the center. This figure stopped, and she turned and looked down the hall at us, and then turned back the other way and continued to walk, and she walked straight through a wall out to the other side. We didn't have a camera on that. We had a camera pointing towards us, but all 8 of us watched this figure walk into the center of the hallway, stop, turn, look at us, and then turn back and walk straight into a hallway or down into on the other side.
And on the other side of that hallway is a pair of large double doors that opens out to an exterior stairwell,
Mm-hmm.
which first off was locked. And
Mhm.
secondly, it makes a really loud noise when you try to like push on it and force your way through.
Yeah.
Because naturally I followed that. You know, I'm like, where was it? Where'd it go? I want to see it. So I'm going up this hallway and I'm pushing the door, and you make the slightest push on it and everybody could hear it and it echoes down the hallway. That never occurred.
Yeah, but that picture on the second floor figure, that was we caught a shadow anomaly on the left hand side there.
Right here.
Mm-hmm.
That almost looks like 3 people standing together. Maybe it's just my eyes, but
There's actually been a lot of discussion about this one, just on our social media platforms, because we have, I don't know if you can look up above that window, but somebody believed that they had seen a face up there as well. There was
here.
Yep, there was on the right side of the video, or on the right side of that screen. It also looked like there was some figure to the right of it. But what really did perk my interest was this moment is when we were walking just down a hallway and we all felt like just chills, like you were being watched. So we followed it and I just started snapping pictures. We never saw anything, experienced anything. There were no noises. There was nothing. So when we let this energy go, we kind of walked away, went to a different area, and I had to lighten this up a lot because it was just black. It was like a pitch black picture. So what you see there is actually what looks to me like something's hiding in the corner, as if we followed it like too far.
God, I can't get this mouse to work. There it goes. My
But
normal
to your
mouse
point
is
about 3
dead.
people, it's very possible that it was 3 people. I mean, this place was packed.
Well, what I'm saying is it looks like a head there, head there, head there. It's almost like, when you were in high school, the 3 douchebags that are standing in the corner like, yeah.
Back when we went to West Side Story.
Yeah.
No, I see it. I see it now that you point that out. I was always focused on the figure on the right, like of that grouping. But yeah, I can see that it looks like there's 3 individuals there.
Or it's 3 nerds and 1 bully. Give me your milk money. It's like I tell people a lot of times with these paranormal pictures, it's almost like a Rorschach ink blot.
It is.
And the longer you stare, the more you see.
Yeah. It's amazing what our eyes perceive, and it's never the same for any 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, like this, it just seems like person, and something big standing over here.
Something in the corner. Yeah, and that's why Derrick and I do things how we do it, where we share everything we capture, to the greater audience, to people that follow us on social media, to people on our Facebook page, like on our website. Like we put literally everything on there so that people can look at it and they can offer their input on what they see.
And so if you go, a perfect example of this is if you go.
Do you want to know? But one thing before we exit out of this, you know what was crazy? Look at how this is a solid shadow to whatever's here, but right here is faint. It becomes more translucent as you go right here, but it almost matches what's here.
I see that now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just my.
No, I mean it's a lot to digest. I mean, it really is. And like I said, some people were picking out a lot of things that I couldn't see at first until you are doing exactly what we do and just kind of stare at it, and you have to look at it with an open mind.
Did you take this with a flash there?
No.
What's that light above the thing on the right hand side?
Right there?
No, if you go to the right.
Oh, that little down right there.
That little white area right above there.
That I don't know, but that's what somebody else was pointing out as well.
Mm-hmm.
My only thought that it could be a reflection off that red light, but I don't know.
And something about this graininess on the floor right here doesn't match up with whatever's right here. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, there's like Derek said, there's a lot to digest in that picture. Yeah, but you want to go to that picture on the outside there, Derek?
Yeah, so if you go to that exterior picture, just go to the one on the right there.
This one?
Yep. So this is just one that we just put up on social media, like, hey, look where we are, kind of thing.
Share.
And
God.
as we're looking at it and as we start getting feedback, we're like, how the hell didn't we see this?
Mm-hmm.
And Dan, I actually think you picked out something different than I did. Is that
I
correct?
did.
Yeah.
I never saw what you were talking about, but I thought that was the obvious one.
Right.
Am I pinpointing?
Look around.
You are. Now that you point that, you are. You're seeing something there too.
Dude, there's like, it looks like a bunch of different people just looking out the window like, who are these people?
That is exactly why we throw these things out to social media to get so many more eyes on it.
That's
Because
like
we didn't see
two
this
teenagers that are crowded in the window right in here.
It looks like somebody wearing a white t-shirt in that
Yeah,
one you were
and then-
just on.
Yeah, like Fonzie's up here looking out. Then you got this dude over here, like, yeah, whatever. And a white. Let me zoom in on this because that's almost like a girl. Something else right there. Dude, this is wacky. It's a fucking party in there, bro, and everybody's invited. And then there's one here, and then there's something trying to manifest right there.
And that
it's
entire
not
area
out-
was shut down. There was nobody in there. Like, we were on our way out at this point, I believe, Dan. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But these are not reflections from the outside off of the glass because you would have a glare from light.
Yeah, and there was
on
no
the
flash
glass.
taken on this.
And Derek saw the one on that top right pic or the window on the left-hand side, right pane on the left-hand window, if that makes sense. It looks like a figure wearing a white cloak.
Right here?
No, to the left of that, like that right there. Like,
Yeah,
see,
and I can't zoom in on it anymore, I don't think. Nope.
I did take a screenshot of that, like a zoomed in area of that one.
yeah, but before we go to that, I want you to go all the way to the left-hand side, John, like all the way to the left side of the building. I want to show you what I saw directly. Bottom left window, the top section of it.
Shit. Let me get back where it was. Right in here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's definitely. I can see that from here. Exactly. Like now, what you're talking about.
To me, it looks like a woman's face. You can see a nose in the center with two eyes, big eyes on either side. It's like it looks like an exploded view of a person's face.
Nose, eye.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And now I believe that I'm seeing the Predator if you go up a window, but that's never.
We don't need that.
Looks like Cthulhu's peeking out of this one.
You can't even say it. Don't say that name.
Yeah, it's true.
That's a tiny person, though, right?
No, that's the Predator.
Yeah, that one's the one that looks like Predator.
Well, thank God he's tiny. He'll probably still do a lot of damage.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. A tiny Predator is still.
And I ain't trying to make fun of big women, but that's a big girl.
It does. It looks like a zoomed in picture of a woman's face in there.
Like she's coming to the window going, hello.
Yeah, exactly. That was what I saw when
They
Derek
call
first
me
sent
Large Marge.
That was the first jump scare of anybody's life. Large Marge. But yeah, did you want to go to that zoomed in picture on that?
I mean, John's done a good job of it at this point, anyway.
Yeah,
kind
you
of
really have.
pinpointing what we've seen, and actually, you've made a nice example of why we do this.
Plus, too, like I said, when you could, so when light sources hit glass, this is science with Mr. John. See this window right here? That's when you'll see reflections from the outside coming off the glass. You'll see the light source. But these windows, no. There's no reflection from the outside or light flares on the glass. That's all from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's white misty shit. and then you got Predator Boy over here, and Marge over here,
Marge and Predator Boy.
Sally or whoever in this window, and whatever here, and yeah,
There's a
Sasquatch.
lot in that picture. The Sasquatch is in there.
Bat Boy, everybody, we found him finally. The Sun Weekly mystery has been solved. Wasn't that the name of that magazine, the Daily Sun or something like that? Bat Boy.
Weekly World News.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I used to love that in like junior high or something. I think that was popular.
Woman gives birth to Bat Boy. Should she keep it?
So like Derek said, like there's a lot in that next one. So that's what we wanted to go over with you guys. I mean, those are our big catches.
This one here.
From this kind of stuff around. Yeah, that's like zoomed in on that one window.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
You could say, okay, well, that's just a stain on the glass. But the problem is you can see through the stain.
And it very well could be. I mean, it could be a stain. And, we'll have to try to recreate this when we go back. It's like one of those things where we wish we would have known we captured it in the moment so we could.
And that's the only problem whenever we run into these kinds of things is we can't go and look for them in the moment. We can't go back and try to debunk it. And, it's like, well, shit, somebody saw this 2 weeks ago or 2 weeks later. So,
But when you shined a flashlight up on it, you obviously didn't see that, right?
No.
So, and even if there was dirt, mildew, anything like that on that glass, it wouldn't put off. I don't know. I've never taken pictures of mildew before on glass with my art.
You haven't lived until you have taken mildew pictures.
Yeah. Like Egon says, I collect spores, molds, and fungus. Have y'all seen the new Ghostbusters, by the way, Afterlife?
No, I have not.
No.
That movie made me fucking cry, bro. And movies normally don't make me cry, but that one did at the end.
Oh, no.
Because that was such a love letter to Harold Ramis.
Was it really? Oh, I want to see it. I don't know why we haven't seen it yet.
I don't know. That's one of the ones we've talked about seeing ever since it came out, but we just never have.
Yeah, you two were paranormal investigators and knowing it.
We live Ghostbusters. We don't need to pay to see it. People should pay us to see us.
Hey, if it wasn't for Egon, Ray, Peter, and Winston, you wouldn't have a job.
That's it. Well, we'd still have jobs. We just wouldn't have any fun in life.
You haven't lived until you've destroyed a 150-foot marshmallow man.
I could bet I could destroy a 150-foot marshmallow man, but not the same way.
You're going to do that shit alone because I'm getting in the car going home. I was like, look, this was a work of fiction. This is getting out of hand now. I got to go. I'll see you later, Dan.
The only thing I would need is 150-foot graham cracker and a 150-foot piece of chocolate, and I'll take any 150-foot marshmallow man.
Stay Puft's weakness, s'mores. Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's really weird shaped.
It's probably nothing, but it looks creepy as hell.
It's almost like, what is it called? Like a vapor, which normally is what something's trying to manifest, but doesn't quite have the mojo to do so.
Yep.
It's just funny how it runs up here and then it just blobs out right here, and then there's nothing else. But it's clearly obscuring the view of whatever this old raggedy shit is hanging down on the window. Old blankets or whatever.
I think those are the they're further back in the room, but they're old curtains that pulled around beds. You know what I mean? Like in a hospital. Those are, I think that's in those rooms. So I think they're just located further back off the window, so they look partially up in the air.
But see the difference in this compared to this.
Mm-hmm.
This is clearly something covering the window.
Mm-hmm.
This is almost translucent to a degree where this isn't.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
One eye, tentacle, maybe it is Cthulhu.
Cthulhu.
H.P. Lovecraft, you were right.
Mm-hmm. Way ahead of his time. That's for sure.
Oh, I love SLS cameras.
Yeah, so that was it was a room that they told us there was an energy or an individual in this room that does not like to be ignored. And there's a room across the hall from where this was taken where there's a very well-known spirit that everybody goes to visit when they do investigations. They go to visit Mary, Virginia. But then the room across the hall is where this was taken. They said that there's a woman in there named Anna that they've gotten on recordings previously named Anna that doesn't like when you ignore her. So you have to make sure when you go down there to talk to Mary, Virginia, you also stop in Anna's room just to say hi so that she knows you're not just completely bypassing her. So Derrick went in there while we were speaking with Mary, Virginia across the hall, took the SLS camera in and got this and this is on a bed, correct, Derrick? I think there's you can see the headboard at the top, like you can see the bedpost in the one corner there in the center.
He's just laying back chilling.
Yeah, she's hanging out.
That's what I came in saying that I just saw. So it's like she's crossing her legs at the bottom, relaxing.
Yeah, she was just hanging out.
And she crossing her legs exactly like a woman would back in, well, even today.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of sitting back on the bed. Just laid out like, oh, God, it's so hard haunting this fucking place.
So anything I've ever done. Haunting.
So there is one video that I just shared that I really like. If you can figure out this YouTube thing, but it was in Angelo's room where a man had supposedly hung himself. And
Hanged.
I did it again.
I thought I taught you, Derrick.
Every time.
This one?
Yep.
All right, and we're going to push a play.
This is another one where you have to go. It's at the tail end of it.
Right here.
Nope.
Look in the mirror directly above that, at the bottom right-hand corner of the mirror. It's right at the very, very end. I wish that video was about 10 seconds longer.
I know.
I wish I could do it out frame by frame.
Well, if you can pause it like right away, and then just click on the very end of it, you should be able to see it. I think that's actually how I had to do it originally.
See, Derrick, I was the one that pointed that out to you.
Yeah.
So screw you. No, I didn't mean that.
I mean, I saw one look like a little orb.
Mm-mm.
But that could have just been dust, I know. Right there.
Yep.
Like a little peekaboo.
Yeah, it looks like a person.
That was a person.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't no ifs about it. That's like, hey.
That's the doorway. That's the doorway where he hanged himself.
And he's still hanging out there, obviously.
I thought the doorway was behind
you,
Derrick.
We pointed the camera at that doorway.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
mean, no pun intended. I get he's still hanging around.
Yeah.
See if I can catch him.
Ooh, nicely. You had it.
Oh, I thought you had it.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go.
There you go.
It's almost got like that Biff Tannen 1950s haircut from Back to the Future or something.
That's exactly what I think it looks like. Is a dark spot on the top of his hair. Then you can kind of see his skin below that.
When did he hang himself? Was it in the 50s?
I don't
60s?
I don't think we've ever heard a year. I mean, the place was functional until 2004, but I don't know when he. Well, so there's speculation, and apparently this spirit. Several times we had been there. The first two investigations, the people giving the tour and everything, they didn't tell us this, but then this most recent time, a new group that gave us the tour did. There's apparently this spirit of Angelo gets upset that people think he hanged himself. And so now there's it's opening this question of, did he actually, hang himself, or was there something else that took place? That maybe somebody strung
Maybe he
him up.
was murder suicide.
That's exactly it. They don't know if they're trying to find that out while people are investigating, and that's what's really fun about doing these is the story gets deeper every time. When we go in or another group goes in, they pick up something and then they pass that along to the owner and the home investigating group and everything else, and it just keeps adding to the story and tries to unravel what happened here.
This is the exact same spot where Dan had asked, what happened here? Can you tell us what happened? You can hear this throat, you're clearing your throat.
Yeah, I think that's in that file.
That's also in that file as a recording, yeah. But that's the same. It's the same room, and it's a very similar thing. Are you gonna sound like that if you're hanging yourself, or it's more of a choking? You're getting choked first. So
if you'd have kept that on just a little bit longer, you would have almost caught his eyes.
This was one of those trail cams.
Yeah, we need to. So that was only a 3-second video. So when we use that the next time, we need to make sure that's set on the full 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's just a setting in there that we may have bumped the button or something like that. That's what's frustrating about this one is if it would have gone a little bit longer, we would have gotten so much more.
I think you would have got his entire face, his eyes, everything.
I agree. And if it was just one of us, we would have been able to tell that it was just one of us,
Well, ain't none of us, Dan probably could, but ain't none of us rocking that flat top, because I'm bald. Derek's
nothing like
part
that.
Part of the bald club, just like John here. Dan is still blessed with hair, but
yeah, for now, we'll see how long it lasts.
But yeah, I mean, God damn it! Even if it would have just been 5 seconds, you would have clearly got his entire face.
Yeah, I want to rewind time and just make it a little bit longer.
Because it was like he was just walking into the bathroom and then it just stops. Shit.
Yeah, and earlier in the investigation, this was just sitting there while we were investigating the rest of the building, and it's a huge building. But I was standing in that doorway directly in front there, and we got somebody knocking in the stall, they were making noises, there was somebody in the stall behind me while we were questioning what was going on.
So this is the clear throat, correct?
Yep.
Let's see if we can get this.
Can you tell us what happened to you in here? Is there a reason that people know this as your bathroom? What was that? You're in the stall. Can you please come over and talk to us?
about middle way through, you'll hear
Tell
him.
us what happened to you in here. Is there a reason that people know this as your bathroom?
What was that? The knock on the stall door behind me.
Angela, if you're in the stall, can you please come over and talk to us?
Clearing his throat or clearly trying to get up the energy to actually communicate with you. One of the two.
Can you tell
But it
us
does
what
sound like an
happened to
old
you in
person
there?
clearing their throat, kind of.
Is there a reason that people know this as your bathroom?
What was that? The knock on the stall door behind me.
And what's really cool is you all didn't really react to it at all.
Not to that noise. We were reacting to another thing in the room at the time.
Was that this here? No, this is another EVP. This is the told to go to the third floor nurse.
Yeah, that one is a little bit more difficult to hear because it's with the spirit box, but I do have another one in there. You can try playing that if you want, but there's another one where it's actually the time where the group saw that figure down the hallway.
Uh-huh.
It was the time that I was actually inside the room, and it's the one at the top. It's called Bill's something.
The knocking.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah. So I was actually in Bill's room, and at the same time, the group was out in the hallway, which is where they saw that figure at the end of the hall.
See if you can repeat that.
Yeah, so you hear me knock, or Derrick, one of us knocked.
The first one was me.
Right, to say, can you do this? And then shortly after that, you can hear a fainter response to that knocking.
And then that one right there. And you actually thought that I was doing the knocking at that point.
Yeah.
I believe that second one was at 25 seconds, and I think you can hear the chair move right after that because I was a little bit startled.
Yeah.
That wasn't you.
Mhm.
Like, that's how clear that was, though.
Yeah.
That wasn't you.
Yeah, it's a really faint. You got to really be listening for it.
And there's a long pause between the two knocks,
There is.
which you got to think the amount of energy that it takes for them to do that. It's got to,
That wasn't you.
go a little bit slower,
That's why a lot of the time we pause for so long just sitting there waiting because we know it takes up a lot. It takes a lot to get something, anything.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does.
I'm going to see if I can at least hear something out of this.
It was at 13 seconds and I believe 50 seconds. I don't remember now.
It's hard for me to make out, but probably when I go back and listen to it.
Very faint.
Yeah, it's hard for me to make out at all.
Yeah, I kind of figured it would, but you almost need to like crank the volume, put some headphones on. There's a lot of the time where I'm just sitting there like this, just listening into these things.
Well, see, you all could hear it louder than me because when I'm playing this on my end, it dampens the sound down so I can still hear myself talking.
Mm.
So it's going to be quieter for me on my end than it is you guys.
Go away, and right there, go.
Very faint.
Yeah, John, when you get off, listen to that directly and let us know, because it's very quiet on our side too. I think it is something with the audio, like the balancing or whatever, but that is much easier to hear in the actual recording.
But yeah, there's a whole nother. I don't even want to try to open up a whole nother investigation at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll be back on at some point. But the Wexford Antique Shop we were able to get a lot in there, like a lot. And that's just a good story, regardless. So, I mean, that's definitely one when we come back on, we'll go into some detail.
Oh yeah, for sure. As long as we haven't bored you, John, and you want us to come back on.
No, I want y'all to come back. I like this stuff. If I come off as that I'm bored, it's not that.
No. I was just joking. You weren't coming across.
It's like I'm like you guys. I'm focusing on the thing on the screen. It's like,
yeah, no, you weren't coming across like that at all. I was just saying.
This one intrigues me. I'm gonna probably be staring at this a lot today. What is this? Very much a Rorschach ink block to me. Yeah, my friend, one of my best friends back home in North Carolina, Michael, he just on here, he said that he's got a friend out in Wilmington, North Carolina that has a paranormal team. If y'all could ever get out there to USS North Carolina, it'd be a great one, but you're going to have to get more than just you two to cover that ship. That's a big boat.
Yeah, I'm sure we'd have to get more than two of us to cover the cost of doing that if we're able to get an investigation down there.
That ship is haunted as crap. There's so many ghost stories that come off that boat where there's been like people have told stories where they were down like in the engine room area and they get through the little tour and you think it's just a reenactor down there that's dressed in like 1940s period Navy uniform, and then they come up and they're like, no, there's no reenactors down there. What the hell are you all talking about?
Wow. Yeah, I would love to have an experience like that. We hear that a lot. Like people are like, oh, I thought that was a real person.
Yeah.
We haven't come across anything that
Vivid.
solid, at least that we've captured. Like that old lady walking in the down at the end of the hallway was that clear. But I wish I wish we would have had the camera spun around the other way because we just missed it.
That one with Angelo, though, damn, I wish that thing would have been more than 3 seconds.
Just a little more, yeah.
We'll go back to that just one more time before we stop this, because I don't know if Michael was on here when I shared that initially. Damn it. It just annoys me. Because it's like, he's there. Just be longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you notice, most, if not all of our other videos are actually 11 seconds long. And this one's only 3.
Mm-hmm.
He's right freaking there. And I guarantee you, right when that camera cut off, he was right here. I bet you more than anything. He's handsome, all right there, just right in the face. I don't know if he's handsome or not. He might have been terrifying for all we know, but still. But then you all could have been like, that was Angelo, especially if you all had any kind of pictures to go by.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've never seen a picture of Angelo.
This is as close as we've come.
Yeah, and see that's the shame about some of these spots, especially like that hospital. Like their records are either missing or they're under lock and key because they're medical information, So it's tricky to track down some of that kind of stuff. But we'll keep an eye out for that kind of shit because they're constantly finding more and more out about that place.
Yeah, people keep coming to them, old nurses, people that had family there. They keep coming in, giving new stories, and it's just more to build off of.
Damn, that aggravates me. I'm going to probably do a screenshot of it later to slow it down frame by frame. I don't know. But it's a person walking in there. We'll be right back, guys. Got to take a leak. And then, damn it. That's annoying. I want to know if it's you, Angelo. Shit. Need to solve that mystery. So that was probably, that seems to be one of the more active spots you all been to.
I mean, just based on the size alone, it's there's like a story around in every room, around every corner, and I mean it was actually in operation until what 2004.
2004, yeah.
So, well, as of this point, it's still as of recent that it was open. I mean, at least in our minds, we graduated high school in 2006, so it was still in operation when we were out like at that point. So
damn, that place went down so quick, huh?
Well,
because it looks like it's been sitting for decades.
It did, and then they didn't really do much repair to it, and that was part of the reason that it closed in the first place, is they didn't have money to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
But it was
the Waverly Hills Sanitarium.
Yeah.
They're trying to tear that down, and there's a petition to try to keep it open.
Yeah, they want to build apartments there. I had read a couple of years ago that they were talking about turning it into apartments, and now more recently I've heard that they want to tear it down and put apartments on top of it. It's a shame. We got to get down there.
I'd love to, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get in contact with the people that are doing the petition to keep it open so I can get them on the podcast to talk about it, because I don't know if you want to rent an apartment that has been built on top of the ground that a haunted sanitarium once sat on.
You're talking to two people that would like those apartments.
Yeah, I mean...
But you're right. You're absolutely right.
That's like, the movie The Shining, supposedly that the Overlook Hotel was built. The conspiracy theory, why all the conspiracies of that movie, we just covered that movie on the show the other day. But one of the conspiracies was the blood that comes up from the elevator is actually all the blood from the Native Americans that was slain on that particular ground, and that they built the hotel on an Indian burial ground and all that kind of stuff. Even though that movie is a work of fiction, I believe in that crap. You build something on top of some ground that's got some bad juju energy on it, that energy's not going away just because you tore that building down.
Well, that's why Moundsville State Penitentiary is that they think that's why it's as active as it is. There's a burial mound from Native Americans right across the street from the damn place. So who knows what they dug up and moved whenever they built that place, So I agree. I mean, that's not something I want to mess with.
That's the whole damn city, though. They had to dig up those burial mounds to do anything.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. So we're actually going down there next weekend. We are going down to the Archive of the Afterlife. Yeah. It's a museum of haunted objects down in Moundsville that we're investigating next Saturday.
So it's kind of like the old Zach Bagans Museum in Las Vegas.
Yeah, but it's run by somebody that we like and not Zach Baggins.
I don't know.
Can we just have like
cool stuff happen there too?
Can we just have a Zach Baggins show? Like, is that?
I don't hate
Zach Baggins for 2 hours.
Here's my deal with him. I don't hate the guy because, to be truthfully honest, at least he does it somewhat legit, where he's not taking an entire camera crew up in there with him like Ghost Hunters did,
Right.
and has all this big budget production. It's just him and Billy Tolley and Aaron and all them guys, but it's the way he goes about the investigations and the disrespect that he shows sometimes to this stuff. This is shit that you don't want to fuck with because we can't see and or touch it, but it can see and or touch us.
That almost any investigation group that we've ever spoken with, hell, people that just want to come along, that's like one of everybody's rules is just, you don't do that. You know, he's the poster boy for what you don't do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's had a Catholic priest telling him, why are you opening yourself up to this shit like you are?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's literally sat down with a Catholic priest and that guy's going, you were already in the early stages of a possession. He's like, I would have been ready to have performed an exorcism at this point on you. He's like, and you just treat it like it's just going to the county fair or something. He's like, you're playing with stuff that's not meant to be played with. And he just writes it off. Well, I'm just going to keep doing me. That's my style. Well,
Yeah,
your
he's making a lot of money at it. If the money is worth his, spiritual well-being, I guess that's his own personal choice.
I mean, Aaron, he's been a very, what would you call it? He's been a good soldier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but the shit that they've done and the things that they've pissed off, that costed him his marriage. He lost his wife over that whole Bobby Mackey's Music World thing.
No shit.
Because he had some shit that followed him home that drove his wife to leaving him.
I didn't know that.
But yet he still stands by Zach's side. I mean, I get it. But Aaron has always struck me as the only one of the group that has any damn sense. And then there was a falling out between Zach and Nick, and I don't know if that was money or investigation style, because I know there at certain points in time, Nick wasn't too happy with some of the precarious situations that Mr. Baggins would put him in. So there was a falling out between them. I don't know. To me, it's not a game.
No.
And it aggravates me when people treat it as such, or they just, oh, it's nothing. Okay. Well, when you start floating in the middle of the night and you can't understand why, or just random shit's attacking you and things are being thrown at you, or you're waking up scratched, or it gets like super, then was it a game? That's why I don't want to go to his museum, because he has stuff up in there that I don't think needs to be put out for public to even be near.
That's true. Oh, that's true.
Like he's got Annabelle up in there, the actual Raggedy Ann doll Annabelle, for people to just walk up to and touch the glass. Yes, I get it. They're not actually touching the doll, but do you have to literally touch the doll for its curse to come off onto you? Probably not.
Right. Very true. And you
I don't
have no idea what you're getting into whenever you go into a place like that.
I don't want to fuck with no doll that has killed like 20 or 30 people that's come into contact with it, if not more. I don't know what the actual number is, but it's been a lot of people been harmed by that thing. I mean, we could talk shit about the Warrens all we want, but some of that stuff that they did was legit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, the stuff that they did that wasn't legit is the stuff that people talk about more.
Yep.
They kind of spoiled their own story there, I think.
Well, that's why we got guys like you out there that's keeping legitimacy to actual investigating and not just selling out for cheap parlor tricks just to get a TV rating.
That's what we try to do. Yeah.
Not to say if anybody came at you and said, "Hey, we want to do a TV show," then by all means do it. Get that bread and run. But
We wouldn't turn them down, but we wouldn't be resorting to those kinds of
I'd,
things.
I'd be like, "Hey guys, I'm not faking no evidence." That's the Kling brothers. They did a show called Ghost Lab a couple of years ago, and that's why they never took off, because they told the network, "We're not faking none of this." And there was some of their episodes that was so boring it was like watching paint dry.
Yeah.
But the purpose of their stuff was, hey, not every investigation we go on means that we're going to catch something.
I think we preface most things with that. Like, we're not always going to get something. There's no guarantees.
And that's why I like them, and I wish they were still on television, but they got canceled because everybody wants to see a ghost. Anything else you guys want to go over?
There's a lot of stuff we want to go over, but I think we're running a little bit long. We have plenty of times to come back for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to.
We want to cover this time.
You all are always welcome to come back. Y'all got something going on I was reading about. Is it a podcast or something y'all are getting ready to start doing, or something to that effect? I thought I read on social media. Or is it just something with the YouTube channel? Maybe I don't know. Or you were getting ready to be guest on something.
I mean, aside from your show, I mean, we jump on others every once in a while, but it was probably the YouTube thing that you're referencing. I've been working on like turning our random write-ups and stories into word of mouth, more or less. So you can sit there and just kind of like listen to these, what I tell you, Dan, like 2-minute long clips.
Yeah, they're about 2 or 3 minutes tall.
Basically, yeah. So that's the most recent thing we've been kind of working on that's not really related to the investigation so much.
Oh, I got you. I was thinking maybe y'all were going to start doing an audio podcast talking about the investigations and stuff.
We've talked about it, but we've never really made that jump.
Yeah, so far we've been relying on guys like you, John, to have us on. We like to talk about it, and
well, if y'all ever go that route, just let me know, and I can help you all with the editing of the files and stuff. That's no biggie.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah,
Yeah, awesome.
We'll definitely let you know.
Especially if y'all could give like an insight, like, historical insight on like, hey, this is where we're going to be investigating, and this is what happened here in history.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that was the thought we had, was do like an episode or whatever with just the history and the paranormal history, the paranormal experiences people have been having there prior to the investigation, and then do an episode with just reviewing what we found in the investigation, those kind of things, a couple weeks later or whatever. But that's the unfortunate part with doing these, is you got to be constantly creating content to stay relevant. And unfortunately, with the amount of time and effort that it goes into reviewing all of that stuff, we're afraid it's going to be like too big of a window of time between episodes, and then, might fall out of favor. Well, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'll probably never be one of the big YouTubers, because I work a regular job and I just don't have the time to constantly. And plus, I don't have the savings account to go quit my job to commit solely to YouTube. And then it would not be fun to me. And I'd much rather just be my fun hobby to do.
Yeah.
It starts feeling like work, then I'm not going to want to do it anymore.
Well, that's the truth. That's absolutely the truth. But it would still be nice to get some beer money out of it,
Yeah, well, that's why I got a merch store. I mean, every time somebody buys a T-shirt from me, I can go get a beer.
Yeah, so that we could drop that. We are going to be moving. We've been having trouble with our merchandise as far as getting it out, so that people can have a better access to it. We were doing I guess where people start with merchandise, where we would wait until we had so many orders, and then we would try to lump Summit so that we could get savings and everything else for people, so that we didn't have to charge more and all this other stuff. So we're actually working on right now looking at a print on demand kind of approach.
Oh,
Yeah,
like he hit something.
I think it was his computer that he said was dying. But yeah, he's talking about the merchandise where it's like a print on demand, basically. So it's like, yeah, he just texted me. He said my battery just died.
That's okay.
But yeah, I mean, we're working on some of those kinds of things. Just anything to help, add to this, add to what we're
Well, I
building
go
on.
through Teespring, and they've gotten better. Because I was going to pull away from them because I got a few shirts that some people had bought from me, and they sent me pictures, and I was like, hey, look, guys, for the amount of money I'm giving you as far as a cut, because every T-shirt, say I pay $25, a person pays $25 for the shirt,
Sure.
I only make $5.
Right.
That's all I make.
Right.
So I'm like, you guys are getting $20 of that T-shirt. You think your printing could be a little bit better because it's kind of shit.
Yeah, you would think anything's better than. So there's so many different ways to look at those kinds of things, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that we're working on. Let's say.
Well, they stepped their game up. Their stuff's better now. So I know I'm not the catalyst. I'm just a small fish in a big ocean. But
right.
I was willing to call them out on it. And now every time I've ordered anything, the quality's been better. The screen printing has been better.
Really?
It's not been tacky and sticky feeling like you get on the cheap knockoffs.
Or you can ask for it. I mean, it worked in your favor then, that's for sure.
Like I bought a Rolling Stone shirt the other day from Amazon and got it cheaper, which cheaper is not always better. And the screen printing, it was the tongue logo on the front, and the screen printing was all tacky and sticky. And I was like, this is a knockoff. This is some bullshit that I'm going to wash and it's going to peel off probably.
Yeah, I could definitely see that kind of thing happening. Like you don't want to pay money for that. Like
No, I wrote old Bezos and was like, hey, I want my money back. And I just sent him a picture and showed him like, this is bullshit.
Well, yeah, and it is.
You told me this was from the Rolling Stone store. This ain't from the Rolling Stone store. This was from China via the Rolling Stone store.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a Stones fan. I expect to get quality Stones items if I order it. So,
or just don't tell me that it's from a different place and a legit place. Then.
And I know that Mick Jagger and Keith Richards has made enough money that they can afford quality merchandise, and that was not quality merchandise.
That's exactly right. Yeah, they're not banking on you for that.
No, they're not. Yeah, they're not hurting. They didn't blow all of it in cocaine and heroin.
That we know of.
Yeah, they put aside a little bit. Well, yeah, man. I mean, if there's nothing else, just let me know when y'all want to come back on, and
yeah,
I'll have you back on. Any of you guys have been watching and or will watch in the near future, just look down below. I'll have the link to Derrick and Dan's website for IronCityParanormal.com. And if you have something going on in your house in that particular area, not in my area, because you're going to have to pay for them to come out where I live. But yeah, up and around that, West Virginia, Kentucky, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, got some things going bump in the night, give them a call. They'll come out and check it out for you. Maybe get rid of it.
Yeah. Just reach out. I mean, even if we're not in the area, we can recommend other people or we can try to help out any way we can.
Well, with that said, I just want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank you guys for coming back on again today.
Thank you for having us.
You've all become part of this family. I've added you onto the website as
we appreciate that.
So you all are regulars around here.
Well, thank you very much.
And even if you all go to my website, Fiendish Fantasy Productions LLC.com, there is a link in there, which I also put some of their latest investigations. I put a link in there that goes directly to their website. So there's plenty of ways to find Derrick and Dan. So.
Yeah, and hey, if you ever want any of our best of stuff that we cover here, just let me know. We can send you a link directly to it.
And I'll also put the link for your YouTube channel up in the descriptions as well.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
But with that said, thank you guys for watching. This has been old John. That guy over there is Derrick, and the one that just had the dead computer was Dan. And yeah, we'll see you again next time. Woohoo!